So here is my travel journey from Indianapolis to Ecuador. The first night we stayed in Quito, which is the capital of Ecuador. We stayed there one night, and then we went to Cuenca, Ecuador, which is where we did the immersion program. It's a smaller city in Ecuador. So I'm going to talk about our first night here in Quito. This is us landing. As you can see, some of the city, the mountains. We were very excited. This is what the plane said. We had 1 minute until our destination. It was a pretty long flight. This is when we made it. We were going to customs. You can see, super excited. And we had a shuttle bus take us to our hotel. That's my name on there. I was excited. This is a screenshot from my phone. I could not believe it was showing that I was so close to the equator. We wasn't playing. We definitely had, I don't know if you could tell, but this is like two locks on, well, a lock on the hotel door and a little alarm that went off if someone tried to push it, because we were in a foreign country. We wasn't playing. This is some of the hotel. It was a very nice hotel. It kind of reminded me of a resort, except we had to pay for our own food, but the food was amazing here. Very, very nice hotel. The next day, we were really considering whether or not we should go to the Ecuador or to the equator. See, I'm speaking in Spanish. We weren't sure if we should go to the equator or not, but we were so close. We said, when in our life would we ever be this close to the equator of the world? Like, we were contemplating, because our flight to Cuenca was leaving at 4:50 that day, so we still had plenty of time. As you can see, it's like a 36-minute drive, the shortest way, and we weren't sure, but we were meditating on scriptures, and the scripture we had came across at the time was, be strong and courageous, do not be terrified, don't be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So we said, you know what, we're gonna go to the equator. We then made the decision to go to the equator. We took a taxi cab from the hotel, and he drove us all the way there. He ended up driving us all the way back as well. This is some pretty scenery. We went through several cities on the way there. This is beautiful. Isn't God's, his nature is just amazing. It's beautiful. We went to the center of the world. The way that you would say that is mitad del mundo, which means the center of the world. This is me taking a picture because I thought it was so cool that the latitude was 000. For the longest, we could not figure out what that N and that S stood for, but then it dawned on us that it was the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. What's significant about this picture is that Sequoia in the middle, she is standing on the equator, but I am standing in the southern hemisphere, and my friend Danielle is standing in the northern hemisphere. So we thought that was pretty cool. Side note, so we had already been speaking Spanish. We hadn't even been there 24 hours, but we spoke so much Spanish, just in those few hours we were there. And I was trying to ask this guy, can he take the picture of us? And I'm trying to my broken Spanish. I'm like, puedes tomar un foto, por favor? And he was like, oh, you want me to take a picture? And I was like, oh my gosh, you speak English? And he was like, yeah, I'm from Jersey. And it was just so funny because we were cracking up laughing because we just assumed that everybody would speak Spanish. This is cuy, the traditional dish in Ecuador. This was the first time we saw it, and I'm gonna be honest, we never tried it because, when I see it like that, I don't want to try it. I probably would have had I not seen it like that for the first time. This is us. We ended up going back to the airport. Same taxi cab driver, and now we are about to go to Cuenca. Oh, and then our pepper spray. So we were trying to take our pepper spray underneath the luggage, but we weren't allowed to. So we had just bought that was $9.99 a pepper spray. We had to throw it away. And I was really upset. This is when we were leaving. Y'all, I'm crying because the turbulence on the way out was crazy. And at first we were trying to keep quiet, but then I said something to Danielle and we just started cracking up laughing because it was real bumpy on the way out. So I was just laughing. That's me crying. If you know me, you know I cry when I laugh. This is when we got off the airplane. You know, we didn't get no jetways. That was a real small airport. And then this is when we actually met with our host families. This is
all right, I can do this.
You can. Yes. And we're meeting with our host family. This is when we met Patricia. She was our host mom. As you can see, she had our names, and she, you know, we were excited to see her. And yeah. I do want to say I didn't get a lot of footage on that first night, but she lived on the 4th floor, and that was a lot of walking. Now, this picture is significant. I do have a folder about the food, but this was hilarious because we could smell chicken and we could smell broccoli. We knew she told us she was cooking chicken. We could definitely smell the broccoli. Then she puts this in our front of us, and we thought that like she had pureed like all the chicken and broccoli together, and we thought that this was it. Like we thought this is what we were eating for dinner tonight. So it was real silent at the table because we were like, dang, like we really got to get used to eating someone else's cooking in a foreign country, and we thought that we were eating like a chicken and broccoli soup for dinner. But she ended up bringing out like a second dish, which was chicken and rice. But it was just really funny in that moment because we really like, we were all chatty and, you know, having a good time. And then when she brought out the plate, we were like, oh, okay. But the broccoli was cool. I like the broccoli soup. It wasn't bad. And she juiced everything from scratch. We were advised not to drink the water from the tap. So she actually made a lot of fruit juices for us. Actually, every meal we had was a freshly squeezed fruit juice. On the first day of class, they have our host mom walk us to class. Or take us to class. She decided to walk. And that was a long walk, y'all. It took about 40 minutes. And halfway through the walk, we came to these stairs. And oh my gosh, these stairs were brutal. And we walked up the stairs. I was proud of myself. You know, my heart rate was up a little bit, but it's cool. So we did a program called Common Ground International. But here in Ecuador, in Cuenca, they partner with Amuata School, Spanish School in Ecuador.
Oh, soy de Jasminique, soy de Indianapolis, Indiana, y soy maestra de matemáticas.
There are different classes, so I was at first in the beginner's class, but I challenged myself and I went to the advanced class, and this is like different classrooms. In the class, one of my favorite things is that we had a project that we had to do. So during the week, we were assigned a famous legend in Cuenca, and we had to research that person, come up with like a drawing, and present it that Friday to the people that were in our group. So the person that I was assigned was El Cura Sin Cabeza, which stands for the headless priest, or the priest without a head. So this is me after I did the research. You know, we came up with we had to draw pictures and things on like a little poster, and this is me practicing with my friends and my host mom. She was giving me tips and advice because when I tell y'all, my words they weren't all the way right, but I was reading it to her, and she was like helping us, kind of correcting us on words that we may have misplaced or words that we may have gotten wrong. But this is me kind of in that learning. That's my host mom right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all my story in English, and then right after this video, it's going to be the story in Spanish. So, El Cura Sin Cabeza is the legend is that there is a ghost of a headless priest that roams the neighborhood, one of the neighborhoods nearby, that we walked by when we did our presentations. He was allegedly a priest. Well, when he was alive, he was a priest who was a bad person. He had multiple relations, multiple lovers, and he just was not a good person. And the people in the neighborhood knew about him. They did not like him. They wanted the government to do something about it. But the government he was friends with the government people, so they didn't do anything about it. So he was a bad person, and the story goes that when he died, no one attended his funeral. And except the graveyard worker. And when the graveyard worker went to bury him, he looked in his casket and noticed that he was missing a head. And the legend was, when he went back and told the people, was that the devil took his head because he was a bad person. This is us the next day. Again, we walked the city, and we went to those specific areas where our legends were popular. And we were a little nervous. We were only with the teachers. So again, it's broken up into 3 sections. So we were only with the teachers doing our legends. Once we get here, you can see, so like my friend Danielle, to be honest, y'all, everybody did their presentations in Spanish, so I can't really tell you what their presentation was about because I don't remember. But hers were these 2 dogs, and like her picture was pretty cool, pretty dope. This is Ben. He was in my class, and his was about this lady who like threw her baby over a bridge or something like that. But I just wanted to show you these because this is kind of like what that area looked like. And then here is my presentation.
En el barrio se llama San Roque. Hay un hombre sin cabeza. Él caminaba los calles. La gente del barrio tenía miedo por el hombre. ¿Quién es el hombre? Leyenda dice la historia sobre un cura era malo porque tenía muchas amantes.
Okay.
La gente se enojaba, pero el cura era amigos con oficiales de gobierno. So, amigos con oficiales de gobierno. Cuando el cura murió, nadie fue a su funeral, pero el hombre que trabaja en el cementerio. So, él lo miró en el ataúd y miró el cura sin cabeza. Dice que el diablo le quitó la cabeza. Uy.
So that was the biggest thing from the immersion and just the learning experience. We did classes. This is a picture of me with my small class. And we learned different things in the class, but that was kind of like the capstone. That was the big project. One last thing I'd like to add is that the volunteer work, we actually had orientation the first week, but the second week they actually went out into the schools and did workshops with parents and some of the students at the after school program. We didn't get a chance to do that, but we did play a role in helping to plan the activities that were done the following week. Now I'm just going to kind of briefly go through what we did. A lot of tours. We did walking tours, bus tours. Again, a lot of it was in Spanish, so I'm going to be honest, it was really just a beautiful sightseeing trip because some of it I was able to pick up, some of it I was not, but that's how you learn, right? You fully immerse yourself, and there were some times I could pick up words. The bathroom in this specific area was 25 cents to use a bathroom, so you probably want to go before you get there. We had to hit up McDonald's. The menu wasn't too different. This is probably the only thing that we saw different on the menu. And we went to KFC as well, and they, like, you know how we typically have, like, you know, like the mashed potatoes and whatever sides. They had a lot of like rice and plantain and beans, and then like just this random piece of lettuce and tomato. I had it. It was really good. So in the food, prices are very cheap. This is us on our bus tour. Typically, we would think a bus tour was like an hour. We were on that bus tour for at least 3 hours. It was a long tour, but we had a good time. We saw a lot of the city. Here's just some pictures and videos of Cuenca. We went to the Museum of Panama Hats. So a misconception is that Panama hats are made in Panama, but they are actually made in Cuenca, Ecuador. So we went to the museum, got to see the process of how they make the hats. We even went to a gift shop afterwards. No, I did not get a hat because I was thinking about my luggage situation, but I probably should have got one just to say I got one. But that was fun. We went to a place called Turi, and it's like a sightseeing place up at the top of the mountains. It's very beautiful view of the city. This is us at a museum, which they talked a lot of Spanish. This was probably the most boring time we had, but not because it's boring culture or boring history is because we really did not understand what they were saying. And it was a lot of walking up and down hills. We went to the hot springs where we did like this thing called a circuit. We did like mud baths, red mud bath, blue mud bath. We went into a cave. We had a really good time. On the last couple of days, we did our own thing. We went to the movies to see Elementals, but in Spanish it would be pronounced Elementals. We chose to see a cartoon because it would be easy to follow along. But we saw it in 4D, which was all of our first time seeing a 4D movie, which is where the seats move, water splashes out at you, you feel air. It was really cool, a neat experience. Another thing is that the food there was super cheap. So at the movies, this is what I got. And like, the food just in general was cheap. Here are some examples from menu prices at restaurants that we went to. It was definitely a culture shock when we got back to the Estados Unidos, United States. This is an example where I got a soup, I got a main dish, which was chicken and rice and plantain, and all of this was $3. Another thing that was different for us was that you could not carry large bags into stores, so they had lockers free of charge. You go in, put your bag in a locker, take the key, shop around with the key. When you finish, you come back out, put the key back. So that was also something different that we had to get used to when we went there. So that is it. That is my video journey vlog of my trip to Cuenca, Ecuador this summer in 2023. I want to thank all of you who sowed your prayers, for all the monetary seeds, the support on this journey. It has definitely been a life-changing experience for me. And yeah, that's it. Well, thanks again for watching, and ciao. That's not Spanish. I don't think it is. Well, it is now. Adios.